And we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank everybody for coming out. It is recommended that the agenda of the March 9th, 2020 regular meeting of the board school trustee be approved as presented.
I'll second.
Melissa made the motion, Barb second. Everybody?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Carries 5-0. 4-0. That's right. Keep me in line. It is recommended that the minutes of the February 10th, 2020 regular meeting of the board be approved as presented. I need a motion.
Go ahead.
Barb motion. Derek second. Everybody?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Superintendent's report.
All right. Hey, this Thursday, from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, the middle school has their art and science fair. March the 17th, next week, Luce has their 10th annual wellness fair starting at 5:30. On the 19th, Rockport Elementary has their science and health fair at 5:30. And then spring break, the 23rd through the 27th. The coronavirus, it has made its way to Indiana now. Our custodians, they're on top of everything. They are using a hospital grade cleaner, and they're using it daily. We will follow the direction of the CDC and the Indiana Department of Education as well. It's kind of just like the flu. Certain things, wash your hands. Don't touch your face, give knuckles, your elbow bumps, all those kind of cool things. Make sure you cover your mouth, those kind of things. So we do have e-learning days. We have other things as well if it gets to that point. But for the most part, we're going to follow the direction, as it goes along. We're not going to get too crazy with things, but we also want to be on top of it as well. The drama department has rescheduled the performance of The Wizard of Oz for this Saturday, the 14th, March the 14th. It was scheduled for 7 o'clock, and it's now going to be at 2 o'clock. They also have a performance on Friday night and Sunday afternoon. What an amazing week of boys high school basketball. That was just about incredible. You had nail biters to overtime to everything under the sun in the championship finals. I will say what amazing support we had from our community. It was just incredible. It really, really was. That cheer block was massive. It was huge, which was very exciting. What a performance by our boys, our coaches, everybody above. That was just super. And after all that's said and done, you do a little run around town and that kind of thing, the fire trucks, and then they have a pep session at 10 o'clock. It's like 10 o'clock on Saturday night. And you're thinking, oh, who's going to show up for that? Oh my gosh, the whole bottom section was packed. Just incredible. When you say Rebel Nation, I'm going to say that was a true representation of the Rebel Nation coming to bat. So it was a lot of fun. This Saturday, with success comes small challenges. This Saturday, we have our archery team. They're competing at the state at 10 o'clock. We have our boys basketball regional. They play at 10 o'clock in Huntingburg as well. Tickets on sale. Start on Wednesday morning at the high school office. Then we have the Wizard of Oz at 2 o'clock, and if things go well, we'll be playing basketball at 6 o'clock on Saturday night. So, and that's back in Huntingburg as well. Couple of kudos out there. The South Spencer has received 2 exemplary behavior reports from the ISHAA for our boys basketball team, and that's when they played against Evansville Central the other night, and then we also received one from the girls swim team during their PAC finals. So way to go, South Spencer. That's it.
Consent items. Approve the payroll claims and the accounts payable claims numbered 1860 to 1919. Approve the treasurer's financial report. Approve the monthly transfer from the education fund to the operations fund. Per board resolution. Oh, but it's marked 3 and 4. Approve the following resignations, post and positions, and grant permission to hire. Kevin Collins, South Spencer County School Board of Trustees, effective March 9th, 2020. Scott Douglas, South Spencer High School Assistant Football Coach, effective immediately. Taylor Harmon, South Spencer High School Football Program, effective immediately. Tom Packer, South Spencer High School Wrestling Coach, effective immediately. I need a motion. Derek makes the motion. Need a second.
I'll second.
Melissa seconds. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Upon the recommendation of the superintendent, approve the following new hires pending a clear background check. Melissa Rowe, bus driver, starting March 9th, 2020. Stephanie Jesse, bus driver, starting March 9th, 2020. Dakota Reese, South Spencer High School, head girls track coach, starting 2020 track season. Sarah Lindsay, South Spencer High School assistant girls track coach, starting 2020 track season. I need a motion to. Melissa motion. Need a second.
I'll second it.
Barb seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Upon the recommendation of the superintendent, approve the following baseball coaching assistant request by Coach Brian Keister. Sean Keister, 75% stipend. Seton Embry, 25% stipend. Chris Bartlett, 75% stipend. Ryan Studeville, 25% stipend. I need a motion. Derek makes the motion. Need a second.
I'll second it.
Barb second. All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Upon the recommendation of the superintendent, approve the proposal for the 2020 middle school summer school program as presented. I need a motion.
I'll motion.
Melissa motion. I need a second. Derek second. Everybody
Aye.
vote aye. Any opposed, vote the same. Most aye. Motion carries 4-0. New business of the board. Upon the recommendation of the superintendent, approve the recommendation to hire Midwest Roofing for our middle school roofing project. The 3 bids we received were as follows: Midwest Roofing and Insulation Company Incorporated for $197,800. Lehman Roofing Incorporated for $218,900. And B&S Roofing Incorporated for $229,700. I need a motion.
I'll motion.
I need a second.
I'll second.
Barb seconds. All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Upon the recommendation of the superintendent, approved to accept the mowing quotes for the 2020, 2021, and 2022 mowing season as follows: Winkler Mowing Service Incorporated, $270 per cut for Luce Elementary School. Winkler Mowing Service Incorporated, $340 per cut for Rockport Elementary School. Morse Grimes, $1,050 per cut for the high school and middle school. Winkler Mowing Service Incorporated, $75 per cut for the Lifetime Educational Center. I need a motion. Derek makes the motion. Second.
I'll second.
Melissa second. All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Informational items, technology report, maintenance report, transportation report, new volunteer report. Yes. At this time, we're going to have Mr. Rudisell read the process of how the board's going to go about in hiring or replacing Kevin's seat on the board.
Okay, thank you. So there's certain things that are set in stone, and there's certain other things that the board will need to make a decision on with respect to this process. The things that are set in stone is the prospective appointees or interested persons need to be residents of Ohio Township, and they need to have been a resident for at least a year before the time of their appointment. Anyone who's interested needs to make their interest known to Mr. Schwoeppe, as he is the board president, and that's per policy. When the appointment is ultimately made by the board, it will be made by the board at a public meeting, so everyone can be here. The board has 30 days from today to make the appointment, which means that the deadline is April the 8th. If the board fails to make the appointment, then the decision goes to the circuit court judge for decision. When you make the appointment at the meeting, of course, there's an even number of you now since one has resigned. You still need to have a majority, so in essence, it's a supermajority vote. That means 3 of you have to approve the prospective appointee to be appointed as the replacement board member. who will then serve out the balance of Kevin Collins' unserved portion of his term. Now, the part in between is where you have some leeway. There's no statutory guidelines as to how you can go about making the selection. So there's a couple of different ways you can do it. One of the ways that you can do it is you can conduct interviews once people have made their interest known. And I think George was considering having a cutoff date to accept applications of March the 16th. So if that's the case, you all can approve that. And then once you have those applications, you can decide what to do with those, whether that be scheduling interviews with those people, which that would need to be done in an open public meeting so anybody can attend that. Not that that's when you would make the decision, you just do the interviews then and then come back at a later meeting and make that decision. You can also have people fill out questionnaires, which you would have to decide what information the questionnaires would be asking for at a public meeting either tonight or at another public meeting, a special meeting that would be held subsequent to tonight. The people who are applying would fill out those questionnaires, then you would have a public meeting to evaluate those questionnaires. Again, you could decide whether to make your announcement then, or you can come back at a later meeting as long as it's before April the 8th to make the decision at that point. So you guys need to make a decision which way you wish to go on that, whether you wish to conduct interviews or have questionnaires submitted or anything else that you could come up with. Again, there is no set policy on how this is done, so whatever you can come up with, otherwise you're free to do. But that's what you guys are here tonight to do, is to figure out the way that you want to proceed. And we're kind of on a tight deadline here with only 30 days, so whatever you do, you need to get moving quickly.
So do we want to go ahead and just discuss openly on how we want to process this?
That's what we're here for. It has to be done. That's
Oh,
what we're here for.
absolutely.
I think we do.
Yes. We had talked about, you guys had mentioned even doing like a special meeting on, March the 30th.
Yeah.
So I know that's already on the agenda.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
the rest of that you guys needed to kind of discuss and talk about.
I like the idea of doing questionnaires.
Well, if we come up with questions, whoever either texts me or emails me that is interested, I can have it in my phone and send them a questionnaire for them to fill out and send back to me. I think that would work.
Yeah, you can do it that way, and then you'll gather all those up. I don't know how many you'll get, whether it's a few or a lot, and you can come back at that 30th meeting or sometime before that and evaluate those if you choose to do it that way.
That sounds good.
Is everybody okay with doing the questionnaires?
So you wanted to set a deadline for people to notify you of, is it March the 16th?
March 16th.
So then you need to set another meeting, unless you're gonna do it tonight, where you talk about what information you wanna put in the questionnaires.
Like what questions we want to ask? Okay.
You can do that now if you want to.
Do the interested people, are they still supposed to turn in a resume? Or just express their interest to George?
Whatever the board asked for at this point, they're just asking for people to let George know that they're interested, and then there's going to be a questionnaire, I think, is what the consensus is for those people to fill out. So the question is, what questions you want to have on the questionnaire?
Can we, so whenever, we'll have to have another meeting to disclose the questions that we ask, because I don't have any idea what questions to ask at this point, at this moment,
Yeah.
except for the goals.
Yeah, I think you probably want to have some more time for each of you to consider that, and then set a meeting not too far off.
Well, why don't we just move the 16th
Well, why can't we not just make it the 16th, have a meeting on the 16th, since the deadline for the participants to turn in their names? We can have a meeting on the 16th with the questions, and we can submit it to the candidates.
We can do that. So whoever's interested, get in touch with me by the 16th, and we will.
And we'll have another special meeting, and then we will announce the questions that they will have to answer on the questionnaire.
So we'll have another special meeting before the 30th.
Is that correct?
That's
Or-
correct. So you'll need to have that meeting to formulate the questions.
Mhm.
You have some time now to think among yourselves about what those questions might be, but you're gonna come back on the 16th or some other date to set those in stone in a public meeting, and then you'll have those to give to the people to fill out.
George, you did mention if you had the questions ahead of time, when somebody asks you, then you could just send them the questions and they could send them back in.
Mhm.
as
I
well.
think that would be the best, so if, as a board members, just send me your questions or whatever, and we'll go from there. But it needs to be done, because the 16th's only giving it a week.
Well, I don't think your questionnaires necessarily have to be done by the
No,
deadline for
that's-
people to notify
no.
you of their interest.
Just,
And then the
Yeah.
16th is
Okay.
whenever we will notify the candidates of what questions that we will
Alright.
have for them to answer.
But you have to have a meeting to do that.
Right, on the 16th or the 17th or
So
whatever,
if you
around
want
that
to have it on the
timeframe.
16th, have it on the 16th.
Is everybody available on the 16th?
I don't know, are you?
Your wife will be at Grandview.
Yep, sure enough.
I'm available on the 16th.
Could you
We
guys,
could-
on football
we could-
fields?
Yeah,
Could
we
you
could
guys-
probably have it earlier too.
So I was gonna request, since I gotta go to Grandview.
What time?
4:30?
4:30?
4:30? So we'll have a meeting March 16th at 4:30 in this room. Multimedia,
Multi-purpose.
multi-purpose.
Can you say how they should get in touch with you? Like, if we put it on Spencer County Online, people that are interested?
If they go to Harmony, no,
Email.
well, it's on
Email.
Harmony anyway. If they go to,
I think it needs to be done email so you can be easily trackable, so you'll have that email documentation.
well, that's even on Harmony, ain't it? My email address?
It'll be on the school website,
Mhm.
correct? George.Schwoeppe
School.
at sspencer.k12.in.us. Did you get that?
I didn't, but I know.
You know the,
You know
I know
you
what
know
to
the
look
line,
at.
yeah.
George.Schwoeppe tells me
Yeah,
a lot.
yep, that's it.
So then, once we announce the questions on the 16th, then we can submit the questions, or they'll have the questionnaires. How long do we give the candidates to answer those questions? What is their deadline going to be?
As long as it's before your next meeting.
Yeah, the
The
next
30th.
meeting's the 30th, so it'd have to be. I would say 23rd,
23rd?
that'd give them a week, and they'd give us a week to,
Review them on our own, and then come on the 30th and review it, in the public meeting?
yeah. Does that sound right, Mr. Russell?
I think that's an appropriate timeline.
Okay.
So what time for the meeting on the 30th then?
I think it's set for 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock?
good?
I think that covers it.
All right. Statements from the public.
My name is Tim Coomer. Been a lifelong resident of Spencer County. Corporations are, they usually have a supervisor, and then they have a board that kind of makes decisions, and then they have people that are stockholders. And I don't know about you, but I got a major investment in Spencer County and in this place right here. I've had two that's come through here. I got one that's a senior now, and I've got a group coming behind me of grandchildren. They're going to go to South Spencer. So this is a very important place to me. Not really been much involved in the school board. Last couple of years kind of got involved. Someone come to me and started telling me some things, and Dr. Rutherford and I graduated high school together, and he's a friend of mine. We hadn't been around each other in years, and starts telling me some things, so I decided to start investigating. Now, I've made phone calls. I'm just making statements, right? There's no questions, so I'm making statements. I've called everyone on this table, except Brian, because I'm going to show you, Brian charges when you call him. So I don't call Brian. But everyone else on here I've been on the phone with, correct? So anyway, and one that's missing. I've done some investigating. I'm going to tell you something. I've had people that are happy with me, and I have people that are mad at me. I've had people leave the church over some of this, and I've had, it's how it is. But I'm a truth guy. I work in the truth. The Word of God is truth, and I work in the truth, but I also work in truth. So I've done some investigating, and I've just not found anything that I've been told have I been found to be correct. A lot of gray areas, a lot of things that can't be proven. I've called people that it was really hard to have these discussions with that really brought up some hard feelings, but that's how you get the truth. So I've kind of got involved in that. And through this, and I want to share this, one thing about that, every time I've talked to Derek, now the last time, I know he kind of come under some fire about some things not being truthful, whatever. I'm going to tell you, Derek has been straight with me every time I've called him. And we've not agreed. Derek's a friend of mine. George is a friend of mine. These guys are, close friends of mine. And we don't really agree, but that's okay. We can still be friends and not agree. But he has never one time not been straight down the pipe with me. And I wanted to make sure that everybody understood that things get a little cloudy sometimes, but he's been straight with me. I say all this to just kind of give you a background. This with Kevin, okay? So he's resigned. I'm making a statement, I guess, maybe asking a question. This is a medical thing, because you hear one thing, it's medical, and then you hear something else. And I really feel like this is something that needs to be straight. If it's a medical thing, that's I hate that. I don't want the guy to be sick. But if this is something else, someone said it there, and this could just be a rumor, but there's one way of stopping rumors: you speak it. Death threats. I'm going to tell you something. I don't care if I agree with you or don't agree with you. If someone calls in something like that, you don't quit. And I think it's time to get to the bottom of it. So I'm just putting this out there. This is a statement. If that is true, if it's been said, if there's a letter, if he said this, if someone else is sharing this, and it's a true statement, somebody better call the Indiana State Police, because this does not get swept under the rug. It shouldn't. It absolutely shouldn't. I'm just telling you. If it was a death threat here in the school, if someone called in and said they was going to come in here and shoot the school up, we'd be on the phone. And if somebody has called and said they're going to take out somebody because they don't agree about something in school, that's just nonsense. It's foolishness, it's childish, and we shouldn't take that. And so I think that I want to make that statement, and I really felt it important to do that tonight, because I don't want a month down the road, they said, well, that's not really why, it was because of this. Well, then let's get to it. Call somebody in, let's get to the bottom of it. I don't care who it is. I didn't make no threats, so I don't have nothing to worry about. But if they did, we need to get to the bottom of it. The other thing, and I will sit down. There's a couple bills here for some lawyers' fees, and I couldn't get them till after they was voted on to pay, so I went and got them. So I wanted to look at them, and I don't know that I owe this. I don't even know what I owe a portion of this. I don't think I'd have to be part of paying it. There's a statement. Somebody else pay it. Whoever hired these guys, pay the bill.
Amen.
Are you gonna follow up with that
I mean, Kevin,
as far as being waived?
yeah, I can say, oh,
Oh, was it closed?
no.
You never want to follow a preacher. I mean, that's just for a minute. You know, I'm right with Tim on that. I don't know why us as stockholders basically are going to pay for things that weren't approved. That would be the first question on your questionnaire. I would want to know how much are you, if we put you on the school board, how much are you willing to spend without being approved first? You know, you got people to answer to here, and I don't think we're getting many answers. All I heard during campaign time was transparency, transparency, transparency.
I'm sorry, who are you?
I'm Jay Bickle.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing any more transparency than what we had for years before at school board meetings. I've made a statement on Facebook once that you guys will know when you're doing a good job when there's not 50 people here. You know, unless there's a special event that night. The death threat thing. It's against our school corporation. We received a death threat. I've heard it all over town. Everybody's heard it all over town. It's a win-win for all of us. Find out who did it. I don't want to sit next to these people in my community if they're writing out death threats over something that we don't agree on. It's ridiculous. And that's how bad this has gotten. We got somebody threatening somebody's life over a school board. Get to the bottom of it. That should have been the very first call made, was to the state police or an investigating Spencer County, whoever. Get the ball rolling on it. Let's find out if it's true, fact, fiction, whatever. I've heard people have seen the letter. I have not seen the letter. I just think it is sad. It's sad. That's all I got to say. The spending without being pre-approved that I've heard of, man, I'm not down with that either. You guys should go through the proper channels to get the surveys done, to get if you guys want to hire an attorney, I think the community has spoken that we all like Mr. Rutherford. You guys got to figure it out. But it's just been a sad, probably year for our school corporation. It's just been I stood next to probably 60% of these people at a ball game the other night screaming my lungs out with them. And then we come here where we're private and we're all bickering and fighting with each other. Hell, we're all on the same team. We all wear rebel blue. We all like sectional championships.
That's right.
We hope we get a regional championship. I think we're all there. I don't think there's one person on this board that is trying to sabotage anything. So, thank you very much. Take the follow preacher.
Hi, my name is Cindy Lawrence, and I have great respect for all of you guys. I feel like we've got a lot of potential with our schools. I want to continue to do that, and everybody knows that I'm really into the learning disabled kids and making sure they can read, but I'm also for the higher learning. But right now, I want to get away from. I want us to pay the damn bill if we need to owe it. If we need to pay it, then we'll have to say, please, let's go back to our why we're losing. We've lost 10 to 12 kids this year. That's about $60,000 out of our school corporation. All right, and the years before that, we've lost kids. Let's figure out a way that we're not going to lose kids anymore. We're going to gain kids because look at all, like you guys have said, look at all we've went through in the last week. We've got a great play coming on. The ball game, I thought I was going to have a heart attack through it, and I'm not even a sports enthusiast, as you can tell. But it was great. It was one of the most enjoyed it. I haven't seen one that great. I didn't get to go Friday because different things, but if we've got something that we need to do, we need to just take care of it and go on. Yeah. But I agree, we all need to show each other more respect and do things. I know you got a couple years left in your contract, so even if there were issues, we got 2 years left to make everything great. I don't know the things. I think everybody here does a good job. Their intent when they came on was to do a good job. But we have to make South Spencer great. We have to market our schools. And if people are reading into the minutes and seeing all this, well, they're going to run over to Heritage Hills. They're going to run over to Castle. And guess what? They might run across the river. We've lost some kids over there. We are sandwiched between two schools. Let's figure out how to make our cream in the middle of the cookie the best. And that is very important to me.
Amen.
So, sorry, I can't do better than either one of y'all can do, but I'm just telling you. I want us to be good. I want us to bring our kids in. I went to Central in Evanston. It was a huge school. And I'll tell you what, I'm glad my kids went here. We've had 2 sets of kids. All of our older kids came here. And then we still have 2 in the school. I know how good South Spencer is from the, so I think we have so much potential, but we've got to get back to making us better than the left and the right and across the river. That's just my thought. So.
Hey George, I want to end on a positive note here. I want to just publicly thank Mr. Schroeman for moving the Wizard of Oz till 2 o'clock that afternoon so that our kids, our parents, everyone can do both.
Yes.
And so he did a great thing by doing that, and I just want to publicly say thank you to Mr. Schroeman. Sorry I didn't see you coming up.
That's all right. I'm Dave Taylor, and I'm president of the CTA. And I heard Mr. Bickle refer to the survey, and I'd just like to clear some things up on that. Melissa and Barbara came to a meeting with the CTA's discussion team, and we talked about having a survey. We talked, and what we came up with were the general areas that would be put in that. Personally, I was reluctant to do the survey, and everybody on the team knows that. Dr. Rutherford knows that. I brought it up at a discussion meeting. But we went ahead and moved forward with that. The CTA asked, did not receive any questions ahead of time. We would like to have reviewed it to see what was in there. As far as I know, the board or Dr. Rutherford got anything ahead of time to see what was in there. So nobody knew what was coming. As far as the results, we don't know what the results are as far as the CTA is concerned. The whole results have never been shared with us. Dr. Rutherford gave us a synopsis at our discussion meeting and told us that it was not valid because there were some retirees and people that no longer worked here, their responses were included in there. So what the results were, we don't know. If there's anyone in this room that knows it besides the board, Dr. Rutherford, or our administration, that offends me as a professional that we have not been informed of that, but people in the public have been. But I would like to end on a positive note, and I'd like to give a shout out to Mr. Hunt for holding true to his word. If his kid spent 60,000 minutes reading, he'd spend the night on the roof at Rockport Elementary, and he did just that. Good job.
Mike Shelton, longtime Spencer County, have a son teaching at the elementary school, coaches at the high school, had a mother-in-law that was on the school board, and understand all your pain, front, backwards, and sideways. For some reason, somebody thinks that because you're on the school board, you have a full-time job. Your phone rings 24/7, 365. You can't go to a basketball game, a football game, or without somebody telling you what you've done wrong and how wrong you've done it and when you did it wrong and why you did it wrong and how wrong you did it. And they don't even know your name. I feel your pain. I understand where you come from. Transparency. If you own a business, you understand there is no such thing as transparency. They gotta protect their people. They gotta protect us. They gotta protect things that go on. Just because you wanna know, sometimes you don't deserve to know. It's none of your business. You just wanna be nosy. You just wanna tell people how it's supposed to be, what it's supposed to be, when it's supposed to be, because it's your opinion and that matters. That's garbage. You don't like what they're doing, vote them out and vote somebody else in. Treat them like human beings, not like dogs. I don't know why anybody want to do this job. I had my mother-in-law walk out and I had to go to school board meetings and bodyguard for her because of how she was being threatened constantly. We expect our kids to act mature and grow up and be good people, and we do these things. It's embarrassing. You want to make a difference, step up and make a difference. They can't tell you whether there was a death threat or not because that's an investigation that may be going on, and it's none of our business.
They have been. They have been.
They're not supposed to
I know
be.
he's getting a death threat if he's not telling people that.
That's
If
his
son-in-law's
that's
not
his
telling people
responsibility.
that, how
That's
else would we
him.
know about
That's
it?
not this board. If it happened to him and he tells somebody, that's on him. It's not this board's responsibility.
It's this board's responsibility to look into it.
They may be. You don't need to know. You don't need to know. Nobody here needs to know what this board is doing. They got to protect themselves. They got to protect
That's the most
us.
ridiculous thing I've ever heard anyone say.
It's
Why do they have open forums for us? Who folded the chairs out for us to sit down here tonight?
Do you
If
really?
if it's not any of our business, who folded the chairs out for all of us to sit down? I never grabbed the chair.
Hey.
Look, you do not have the responsibility, or you do not get the privilege of having them tell you private things that go on that they're supposed to deal with. Blake doesn't get to step in front of all his employees and tell all his employees what he's sitting in a meeting discussing about other employees. It's not the way it works. It's not how things work.
These guys said transparency during while they were running for this office.
Jay, they can't do that.
Then why say it?
I want to jump in if you don't care. I agree with both of you 100%.
Why say it?
I agree with you both 100%. And what I mean by that is there are certain things when it comes to personnel that we have to hold like this. There's other things, if it comes to finances, sorry, you guys need to know that.
Sure.
Your taxpayers' money,
Absolutely.
you need to know that. So I agree with both of you.
But a personal thing like that is none of our business. It's none of our business. If he wants to stand up and tell everybody in the middle of a meeting what he said and what happened to him, he gets to do that. They do not. That's not how this works. Mr. Bush can't tell us what his teachers are doing and how his teachers are doing or what the evaluations of his teachers are. It's none of our business. And to think it is crazy.
Well, I never asked anybody to tell me if there was a death threat. I made a statement that there was a death threat. I don't have to ask. I already know it because they put it out.
Anyway, God bless you guys.
Amen.
Good luck.
Statements, concerns of the board.
I got two little things here real quick, and I'm not throwing you underneath the bus at all, Mr. Russell, not at all. All right, when I first got on the board, Eric Harris, great man. I asked him, I said, Eric, I'm new to this, don't know very much. I need to ask you some questions. He said, no problem. Anytime you need something, Derek, you ask me. I bet I went to the man's office 3 or 4 times. Never heard nothing about no bill. Never got any question about any bill. So to answer your question, apologize. If there's a big bill, I didn't know nothing about it. I mean, nobody ever told me I got a bill. You know what I'm saying? First time I got a bill was 2 months ago. He said, you went to Rudersfield's office 4 times. I said, no, sir, I went twice. And he's like, well, the rest of them must have been phone calls. I said, evidently, I went there twice. But I apologize. If there's a bill, I apologize. Eric Harris told me to ask him anything, and I did. And I never heard nothing. All right, second thing, death threat. I know there was a death threat. All right, I don't know if it was such a death threat, but I know it was a letter, and it was awful. Can't remember when I read it. I'm not going to say it's a death threat, but it made me mad. And this whole board right here seen it. All right, I'm gonna tell you they seen it, whether they want to admit it or not. We seen it, and it wasn't made to Kevin. It was made to Kevin's family, and it made me ill. I mean, it made me sick to my stomach, and it was awful. There's no reason for that. It's crazy. I mean, if y'all don't like us, keep it to yourself. I'm sorry, but that's not what to do. All right, thanks.
I seen what he's talking about.
Okay. I have not seen that. So, okay.
He was ashamed of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was awful.
Well, I know when we had met, I mean, he came, he spoke with me, and he said the reason why he was resigning. I know even like a week and a half later when Melissa, I want to say your name, Melissa and George and I met, I told him I had heard a rumor, you know, about a threat. And at that time, you guys said, I still haven't heard anything, and that would have been.
Any since that?
It
one
happened
that you
after he
mentioned?
resigned?
I
No,
haven't
no, no.
heard
Okay.
anything more.
No,
Okay.
this was 4 or 5 months ago.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I wouldn't want that, and
No.
I would be against that. And that's why I was making the statement was,
I understand.
we don't let people get by with that. We don't fold for that kind of stuff. I don't care who you are. We don't fold for that.
Well, what they was talking about that, and Mike Shelton, thank you, not going against neither one of them. Not, by no means I was not going against either one of you. I'm just telling you, that letter was awful. I mean, it was wrong.
5 months ago?
Do what?
Did you say that letter, you read it 4 to 5 months ago, or he received it?
Yes, he received it. It was last fall.
Well, if it had anything to do with killing somebody, harming somebody, or hurting someone, it should have been turned over to the authorities.
But like they said, Jay, that it was sent to him, his wife, really. All right. I mean, he read it to us. All right. And then we were sitting there, and I said, "Let me see that letter." And he gave it to all of us, and I read it, and I got sick to my stomach. And I said, "This."
I'm getting sick to my stomach thinking about
I said,
it.
"This
That
is
one of
not-"
these people in this room, or one of the people that have been in this room, because apparently if you're gonna send a death letter, you care enough to come to the meetings, I would think, that I may be sitting next to a mass murderer.
It may be.
Possible.
If you read that letter, you'd be thinking that.
I think
Trust
we
me.
should get an
Is it
investigation
unsigned?
going on it and find out
Was
who
it
that person
signed?
is in our community.
No, it was anonymous. They didn't have nobody's name on it or nothing.
The state police will figure out where it comes from, give them a call.
I don't know if Kevin Vernon, I don't know what happened to him. No.
You got some statements, concerns of the board? No. No more concerns of the board?
I mean,
No. Next meeting date, there will be a special meeting of the board, will be Monday, March 30th. No,
Yes, I have that one.
March 16th and the 30th.
Yeah,
March 16th
at 4:30.
Yes.
at 4:30. And March 16th,
March 30th.
March 30th at 6 o'clock.
Here, that is correct.
That's correct. In the multi-purpose room at South Spencer High School. The next regular meeting of the board will be Monday, April 13th, 2020 at 6 o'clock in the multi-purpose room at South Spencer High School. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Derek motion, Melissa second. All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Time